Welcome everyone to Loud and Proud Orlando. About 25 people live right now. Appreciate you guys for your support. It's Monday, May 19th, 6:37 p.m. I'm here with John and Paola. Well, as you know, as a man of faith, you always guys have to keep the faith with this team. A lot of things were said, but one thing that is completely true is that the form of Orlando City is proving that this year they're going to be catching either some sort of silverware or they're going to be doing really good. The team is okay. The team is on a high momentum, and the accent and the exclamation point was the game against Inter Miami this weekend. Orlando City delivered a commanding 3-0 victory over Inter Miami Club de Fútbol at Chase Stadium, Fort Lauderdale, during the MLS rivalry week. This win marked Orlando City's first victory against Lionel Messi, Inter Miami side, and extended their unbeaten streak to 12 matches across all competitions, matching their club record of 2020. Golazo from Luis Muriel, Marco Pasalic, as well as Dagodan Thorhalsen that put the cherry on the cake in stoppage time. And also Pedro Galese, another player that, has not only turned the tide, but I feel like he, at least for me, it's been there's extreme value for the asset that Pedro Galese is in this team. I see it with Peru. I've seen it with Alianza Lima, and now with Orlando City. Pedro Galese, his sixth clean sheet of the season. There was no doubt for me Pedro was going to outperform today, and it was phenomenal to see. The result had Orlando leapfrog Inter Miami into the fifth place in the Eastern Conference standings. Literally, the rest of the season, it's really up to the boys, up to Orlando. Orlando is commanding, playing great, scoring goals, making people happy, the fans happy, and 24 points. And Miami is chaos. It's a complete different scenario. They dropped to 22 points. Definitely, they're feeling really salty. I will say. I think that's the word I'm going to use. Salty. Everything that's being said online. This year has been special because we've defeated the Rowdies and we put that to rest. We've defeated now Inter Miami with a commanding victory based on our momentum. And Orlando City can truly say Florida is purple for sure, undoubtedly, undisputedly, with proof, tangible proof. So with me, I have Paola and John. We're going to be discussing today all things Orlando City. We're going to be essentially talking about the victory 3-0 against Inter Miami. We're going to be talking a little bit about OCB, which they also had another 3-0 victory against Inter Miami. 6 goals in 2 nights. Unbelievable. The Herons were not expecting that at all. Nashville in U.S. Open Cup, another very important match in less than 48 hours. Lineup, score predictions, and we're also going to be giving away some tickets. So stay tuned for Loud and Proud Orlando. John, how are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Oh man. Oh, Luis, what a weekend that was, right? I mean, Friday started off a little sad watching the Orlando Pride lose to KC Current, but that's not what
Yeah.
we're here to talk about today because Saturday, then OCB went out and said, okay, we're going to go beat up on the Baby Flamingos with a 3-0 win. And then Sunday night, it was a thing of beauty, Luis. I mean, I think everybody around the league enjoyed watching us beat up on Miami. We all enjoyed watching beat up on Miami. And I mean, what a performance from the boys, start to finish, 3-0, chef's kiss. What else can I say?
Paola, how are you?
Doing fantastic as every Monday. I'm back. Like John said, I watched OCB game on Saturday and it was awesome game. And then yesterday game to end the weekend, Chef Kiss performance by the Lions taking over the Flamingos over there. So I'm happy to be with you guys.
For sure. So let's start by reading some comments real quick. I think people want to be heard, and then we'll dive into the analysis. Georgia says, "Good evening, gentlemen. What did we see last night? Crazy. I was not surprised, sir. I'll be honest with you. I give you a little bit of my faith. I rubbed it on you. Hopefully, crazy. It should have ended 6-0 or 7-0. Okay." Really proud and happy for the guys. Kudos to all of them. Yeah, you're completely right. This should have ended 5-0 at least. Jordan Tice says, that was a top 5 all time Orlando City, even going back to USL days. I mean, I think they had the players had blood on their face. They wanted to prove a point. They want to prove that their momentum is not all fun, all laughs and giggles, and it's just a one-time thing. And I think they definitely show that they're at least a top 5 MLS team in the East for sure. Big Pedro with the assist. What a pass. We'll talk about that. Muriel with a class stop and finish. She's definitely back on track. Salty H2O, build not bought. Vamos Orlando. We'll discuss that because John had a little bit of people are salty online. I wanted to reply, but it's okay. We'll discuss why Bill not bought and why do we say Bill not bought. And I think he has the best answer of that. William Diaz Granados, I enjoy every minute of that game. Awesome. I watched the game 3 times already. Says Salty H2O. Now it's time for Nashville. We can fail this year. We can win the Open Cup. We want to win that again this year. We lift the trophy. I feel it. No mistakes. Keep the positive streak alive. Yeah, just PMA, my friend. Positive mental attitude. JCB's 95. Buenas noches, everyone. Vamos Orlando 3-0. What a game. Salty says Salty. Thank you so much, sir. Landing the South is purple. I can't stop laughing of Minnesota's caption. Pink phony club is hilarious. All fans also from other clubs are mocking Pess's shit team. We humiliated them, but we want more and more. And John actually had we put a reel regarding how everybody now and I guess we can start with that. I think everybody now around the league is celebrating every time Inter does loses, and I've noticed it more this year than last year. I don't know, what are your thoughts starting from that? Let's start from there.
I mean, Inter Miami are becoming the villains of the league, man. I mean, it's something that we've known, like that they are, have this tendency to think that the rules don't apply to them, like especially the way they go about roster building, but also like on the field. And every week, like we saw in this game, it's them complaining to the ref. I mean, they're complaining to the ref about, a back pass that wasn't a back pass. We'll just talk about that for a second. And then we go and score a goal at the other end. It was the same thing in the end of last season with Atlanta, where they conceded that goal and they're all standing around like the center back thinks he can like get the call. It's that kind of bravado, and I think Messi is like kind of leaning into that and becoming more of a sort of villain character in this league. I just think overall people are getting fed up because the league is jamming Inter Miami and Messi down our throats all the time. And I think after about 2 years or so, and all these promises of, yeah, Messi's going to make the league better, I honestly, and this is not me trying to be, trying to speak subjectively, I cannot see a real difference. Like, yes, more international people like have a Apple TV subscription to watch Messi, but also those numbers dropped off like massively. So he isn't really making our league better is
I
the
agree with you
answer. And I
100%.
think everybody's just fed up of seeing his face and fed up of Inter Miami. And like, it's one thing after the other. And the latest is the fact that they've just announced the transfer window that's only going to be applicable to these 3 teams, but potentially they're going to be in the Club World Cup, definitely 2, one of which, of course, is Inter Miami. So they get a transfer window 10 days before anybody else. MLS, like
Unfair.
You're supposed to be selling parity. I think that's, we've always been like, this is unfair. But now the rest of the league is like, oh, yeah, this is really unfair. And what the hell? and they weren't getting the calls last night. They got some, but they weren't getting all the ones they were at the beginning of the season when they, like the first years when he was here. And I think a lot of the Inter Miami fans are like, "Yo, what's happening? Why are we not getting the calls?" It's like, no, why were you getting all the calls before? And now it's kind of evening out. So yeah, that plus Messi old plus backline shit equals Miami fans, losing it, bro. So happy time to be an Orlando City fan. Bad time right now to be a Flamingo.
Paola, Inter Miami had this big banner that in Spanish said "Always with you, siempre contigo," but I honestly didn't feel it. To be honest with you, I felt that it was just a tifo that was made. And be honest with you, because I could feel it. It is a tifo that was made just to kind of say, "Hey, we're here,"
We're present.
I don't know. How do you feel about the behind the scenes of the game and how the win is going to affect the rest of the league for Orlando City?
I mean, you can see that those fans were not there from since the beginning, right? And that tifo is not even made by them, like us. Like our supporters go there, they paint them, hand paint them, put a little bit of love. That is just bought. That is a printed tifo, right? And I mean, the end of the day, they're not there for because of in the goods and the bads. If they're not keep winning, probably the stands are gonna be only for Messi. Obviously, that's an
Yeah.
obvious reason. So, I mean, and I don't know if you had the chance of hearing Messi at the end the
Yes.
interview. That I was impressed that he
Yeah.
gave an interview by the end of the game, and he said, "Well, let's see. Like this is part of the game. Let's see if the fans are still there too." I mean, it's still Messi. They're still gonna support, but the real fans that they're from the beginning there. I mean, I don't know.
Look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and it's a good point that Paula brings, and then we'll move into the soccer analysis. But it's the growth of soccer does not translate bringing Lionel Messi in the league. I could tell you because I follow his career since he started in FC Barcelona, and I'm telling you, everybody thought that was going to happen, and it has not happened whatsoever. I feel that the league sold his marbles and the ability of creating something really good that was going to benefit everybody to just strictly pander for cash. And I'll be clear to say this: Messi yesterday, and a lot of people don't know this, but Messi only talks to Argentinians. And this is the thing: this is a multicultural, pluricultural nation. We're the United States of America. I think any American on the street, whether you're black, white, brown, anything, it doesn't matter, alien, but you are live in this country, you want to be able to be humble. And the way he's being handled and the way he also is acting, it shows that he's a prima donna. And I'll be completely honest, he only talked that guy that he talked to for Apple TV is handpicked by Inter. It's handpicked by Messi, and he feels more comfortable talking to Argentinian people. Um, it's all their supporters group is cater only for Argentinians. You know what I mean? And it's also really not great. It doesn't have any grassroots. It doesn't have anything behind it. And you could see it with Columbus. You could see it with even New York Red Bulls. You could see it with even Cincinnati, even Orlando City, smaller markets too. You see that. You don't see that with Inter Miami because it's all literally pre-manufactured. And honestly, it's a lack of respect to everybody that truly brings growth to the league. Teams like Columbus Crew, teams like Philadelphia Union, teams that contribute players to the national team, like Orlando City is going to with Alex Freeman, and I can name you a bunch of cases. Unfortunately, with Miami, we're going to this, and it's a good segue. The phrase "built, not bought. The case is, oh well, all teams are bought. It was a franchise model. John, I think you're the best person qualified to reply to this statement about how our build not bought phrase is really not right,
Yeah,
apparently.
I mean, it was funny because I was posting like I do when we win, and I like to post like everybody else, like to go troll a little bit, and I'll put my posts up, put some memes up here and there. And I was thinking about 10 years ago when I was working in the club in the marketing department, and the announcement came out that David Beckham was gonna pick Miami as the club, as the city where he was then gonna build a club. And this was like way back in 2014, and I remember we did like something funny, and I thought maybe it's like still on the club's timeline. So I went all the way back and I like Googled, like, and I was like, what was the phrase there? And it was one that we still use to this day, the built not bought. And I just feel like though some people don't really understand what it means, I think some people online were like, what do you mean built not bought? You signed Kaká? It's like, okay, that's not, it doesn't refer to the signing of players. It's more to do with like what you need to do to get your club to exist. The kind of what we would call, the development process that we went through. And I sort of I thought would have interesting information on that, and I went back to summarize it. And it came up with this great sort of conclusion at the end here, and saying, built not bought for Orlando City fans is a statement rooted in the club's foundation in USL. It's a strong community connection and a sense of pride in its organic growth towards becoming an MLS club. It serves as a point of identity and a way to differentiate themselves within the broader landscape of professional soccer. I think because obviously we joined at the same time as New York City, and everything that happened there with the fact that we were having to jump through hoops to get Major League Soccer to be able to give us a franchise, have to have our stadium ready to go being built before we were granted a franchise. Obviously, we talked about New York City and the fact they still don't
Exactly.
have that.
They still don't have that. Yeah.
This comes back to that. And then the same thing with Miami, right? Miami were just David Beckham had it in his contract from his LA Galaxy days that he could choose a city. He chose Miami. To be fair, MLS really didn't want it to happen because by that point, the franchise fee was way cheaper than they wanted to give one away for that was agreed in his contract. So he made it happen. Miami got a team really for way less money than than the likes of, I think, Cincy that joined at a similar time paid. And also the fact that they don't have a stadium really. They just put their stadium way outside of Miami, honestly, and it's a high school stadium with a bunch of bleachers. They, didn't really have any fans before Messi. So in terms of, did you buy your fan base? Yes, you did. Yes, you bought a player, but that also bought you a fan base. And that comes back in the same thing as built, not bought. Whereas Orlando City actually built a fan base through grassroots movements through the USL days, having all the success that got us eventually enough attention to be able to make that leap. Yes, we still bought a franchise. Yes, we still bought Kaká, but the whole sentiment is about how your club was founded, about the foundations and the culture of which it was built. It also says in here that like obviously this is for banter and like people use it for a sense of pride, and there's also a really interesting thing here that says built not bought can be a way for Orlando City fans to express their preference for a pride in the latter approach. But even if the reality is a mix for both teams, right? Like everybody has a bit of both, right? But for
Right.
us, we're saying what we find most important is the fact that we built our franchise on the backs of fans in this area that wanted to come out and watch grassroots soccer, not just buying the most, expensive player in the world.
And not only that, it's the culture that's being brewed. So in Orlando, and that's what I was explaining when things weren't going so well for Orlando City, and I'll dive into to ask Paola after that. When we were diving in and we were not so hot. People, yes, in general, have a lack of patience. Maybe I am extremely patient, and again, I don't expect everybody to be the same, but a lack of patience, and they want results right away, just like every other team in the MLS. But what Orlando and you guys now, especially the people that are watching now in May 19th, 6:57 p.m., are watching our culture walking the park and doing the talk. You have players that have been brought up in the Orlando system since they were 8 years old. That the first club they supported was Orlando City. Alex Freeman, Taifi, Colin Gusky. The you see. So you see a culture. You see ILF away days. You see what the fans are doing behind the scenes, how they're getting together. What Paola and his crew also, which I want to say hello to as well, they do on the tailgate every single weekend. So all of that is just that sap to Orlando really bringing their culture, the culture of not signing just any player. If you guys have heard Ricardo Moreira speak, how Orlando City signs players, and this is a great thing, an interview that they did, I think, for the football. I believe they had Ricardo on. It literally tells the fans how Orlando signs their players, and that they have to fit a certain criteria so it matches the culture of the team. So that to me, it speaks volumes, and it does bring forth the growth in soccer within our state, which is Florida, and within our country, because eventually Duncan Maguire already played for the national team. You have also Alex Freeman on the under 18s, I believe, with the U.S. men's national team as well. Tahir Reed Brown as well, Gusky, Justin Ellis. All of these are UN's men's national team youth players. And let's not forget that. How many do we have compared to other teams? That is culture. Don't you feel the same, Paola? Or what do you want to say about that before we
No,
segue?
absolutely. And I can compare. I know that I'm jumping subjects, but um I think there were three players on the OCB team playing at on Saturday, and then they were on Sunday in the bench for Orlando City. How many players do you see for Miami doing that right now? I think only one, and that's it. I think the culture and the pipeline that Ricardo and Luis Musi are building from, what, 5 years ago, from the academy to the first team, we're seeing the results now. Like, we're seeing the youngsters coming and be the face of the city in the first team. So, and you said it, Luis, like, we do tailgating from our heart, standing in the sun for 5 hours every game, and then we go to every single game. It doesn't matter if we're losing. I'm not gonna jinx it, but if we're losing, if we're tying, if we're winning, we're there from thick and thin. So you're right. I mean, Florida has a future with the academy, and for us that been there from the OG. So built, not bought.
So I'm gonna give some breaking news before we go into the picture that John is brewing here. I'm putting on there. Breaking news. Thank you for your support, and we're gonna read your comments as well. And then we'll promise we'll analyze the game. All right. According to two colleagues, the first one I do want to give kudos because I just confirmed with him. He's a reporter from Claro Sports. This is all come from Argentina. This is not an American source, an Argentinian source. Claro Sports, Jose Armando. He works for it's a big TV channel, sports TV channel over there in Argentina. So Lionel Messi, and it's true what one of our friends here is putting in the chat. Lionel Messi has and his camp have puts kind of are trying to put. I'm not gonna say stop because, but they're playing hardball with Inter Miami. What Inter Miami wants is, I don't know. Wrestling fans are gonna know what I'm talking about, but a creative Messi has a creative control clause in his contract. If you know what I mean, is he controls certain percentage of things too. within the team. What Inter wants is to take that power back. And but also they want to do it in a way it doesn't say puts a complete halt in the negotiations. So right now they're talking. They have not reached an agreement at all. But hey, what I've heard from colleagues in Spain is that Messi's eyeing the new hot and cool Barcelona team that's brewing over there with a bunch of kids, you know? And I wouldn't be surprised if he just leaves them like that old raggedy, you know, blow up doll and just goes away and goes back to Barcelona. Sounds so graphic, but there is a possibility. Messi's already done that when he left Barcelona to PSG. So, and the thing is, and this is the thing why Bill Nabat's so important. What has he left? He's left the team Mascherano.
Yeah.
he's,
And
he's
like
left
his allegiance to Inter Miami is probably the least of any of his
the
clubs.
least of
Really,
any of
like
his
I don't
concerns.
think he cares.
Yep.
I honestly, that might be people saying hypocrite. That's just us saying that, but I don't see the passion from him, from Busquets. Really, like Alba's a little bit, and Suarez
Alba
can't really
tried,
run.
but
But
he was met with Freeman.
I think all of them look like they're just like, hey, we can't do this anymore. Like we're just too old for this league. Like honestly, and we'll get into the game in a second, but I think when they first came, it was a question mark around are they going to be able to keep up? And that first year or so, they were still fit enough and fast enough. And I think now it's really starting to show that these guys are getting up in age and they can't do this many games and they can't do it at the speed and physicality that MLS is.
So let's read some comments and then we'll go to the analysis. That says here, Pink Parking Lot, LMAO, Legacy Orchestra Collective. Thank you so much. Josh Stahl, let's go. Great win yesterday. We're now fifth, tied for fourth. Thank you. Legacy says, very solid game. Gervais had a large pocket with half of Miami's team in it. Look, I love El Pulpo. He's the man, but I mean, if I want to be completely honest and not lie, Gervais, man, Gervais to me is that anchor right now, man. Gervais is been having this amazing season. He watches the pod, so if you're watching Joran, bro, tremendous, man. I mean, you had no fear in your eyes, man, facing Messi, bro. He was just another player another guy that can play football. And you know what I mean, this kid came from Clemson. He was almost I think All-American, Heisman nominee. I mean, you can clearly see why Orlando was interested in this kid. It's tremendous what he's doing. Great game by Galese, Gervais, Muriel, and Marco. I'm not impressed with the result. The boys have been improving week after week, says JC Beast. I was impressed with Gervais. You see? Plastic people are going to cry. Florida is purple, says Legacy. Landing all the jerseys there, said Messi. Maybe a few Suarez here and there. Boris Buckhorn says, it looks like Messi's contract negotiations have hit a purple wall. Hopefully it's the end of that ridiculous experiment. I totally agree. I think for the old guys, for the old OG Vice City guys, I think they better start again. Gabe says, we have a Florida Luka Modric in Pasalic. Says, let's go. Oh, wow. Gervais watching the podcast. Yeah, Gervais follows our stuff. So appreciate you, Joran, for doing that. But Paula, what do you think about Gervais? Who are your highs and lows of this game?
I mean, he was phenomenal. Like, and I'm gonna be a criticizer of Gervais since the beginning of the season. I didn't see his potential until I think when he got more minutes with the team. He shut me up. I'm gonna say 100% he shut me up. And then wow, those legit passes yesterday. He was on point and he was being a pain in the back of Messi. He wasn't afraid. He was all in. He was having Messi had a headache with him all the time, like in his face. So I mean, And it talks a lot when Pareja, and we have seen, but when a player convinced Pareja to play, it means that a lot for the team, right? We have seen draft picks, even Duncan Maguire. In the beginning, he wasn't, what's his name? I forgot his name. Oh my god. Anyways,
Dagardan,
it's no. Oh my god, the striker that we had, the big guy. I forgot the
Herald,
draft pick. Who?
Daryl Dike.
DK, thank you. I was like DK. Even with DK, he had problems on putting him to start. But Jerbey, man, I don't know what sparked had Oscar Pareja that bingo. He has been starting, he has been outperforming each game. And I think I'm looking at his stat, and the lowest stat that he has is 6.9 according to FOTMob. And that was against the New York Red Bulls. But then it keeps going up and going up and going up. So um, big things to your bay. So I don't want to think that we're going to lose him in the future, but it is what it is. We have to take advantage of him. And I mean, Atuesta, when he's coming back, probably he's going to be have a problem with Gervais and stealing his position when he comes back. So I'm
So
totally impressed.
this right here, John puts a great picture. It's a compare. Like you have to understand, Sergio Busquets. It's a guy that I right now should be praising. Of he give 4 Champions Leagues to Barcelona. Okay, he was a cornerstone of that FC Barcelona team, one of the best FC Barcelona mids they've ever had in history. And look at Joran Gervais, John. What are your thoughts regarding that statistic? That is impressive,
Dude, I was thinking
to
this
say
whole
the
game.
least.
I was like, how is Orange Bay looking like the best midfielder in the center of the park with all of these guys out there? Like, you know, Cesar has never been one to really get on the ball and make passes. We know that, right? But you're expecting to see Busquets do that. And of course he does it a bit for Miami, but it's not the progressive passes that you're seeing from Gervais. It's not the way that he was getting on the ball. And also, if we go down into the defensive stats, he's got him cooked on everything, bro. Like clearances, tackles, so it's very impressive from a guy like Paulo said that we weren't expecting to be at this level. And when you kind of, of course, Sergio Busquets' incredible career, Jean Gervais just starting his career. But when you compare apples to apples directly in the midfield from one game, I think it shows with the accurate passes, him at 91%, Sergio Busquets at 94%. That's the kind of level of passing that Jean Gervais is bringing with some of the best you see. I mean, there's been references to Pirlo, right? Like it's that sort of, watch me ping the ball around. And it's just delightful, man. He's done such a good job. Atuesta wasn't available again because of neck. Neck is a problem. But
No, I don't want to
Gerard
say
Bay,
that
man,
word.
like he's
I don't
cooking.
want to say
So
that too much.
I'm just saying right now, like we got 2 more games this week. If Gervais plays one of them, I hope he doesn't play both of them because we need him right now. He's killing it. He's also, I think Dagger Dan is very good in
Tremendous.
the D mid. So he's kind of, I don't want to say taking Dagger's spot at all, but he's proven that he can do so much in that D mid that he's getting the shout. Man, when perhaps at the beginning of the season you would have said, "Oh, we'll go Dagger there instead." So I'm really impressed by Giron. He's killed it. Other players that you thought
Also,
did really well, Luis, in this one?
also as a player, like to be compared, like I mean, and I guess that's also a tactic a lot of coaches use to motivate their players, and a lot of people may not know this, but for example, um, you know, comparing Joran with Busquets, like you have nothing to fear, dude. Like look at your numbers, look at Busquets. Or like let's look at N'Golo Kante, or let's look at you know Carabasquela, or let's look at Pulisic. Let's compare numbers. You are making more minutes, you're making more assists, more tackles, and that can also motivate a player that is hungry. And one thing that characterizes this Orlando City team is that every single player in this team, whether they are starting or they're on the bench, they're all hungry to win. And that is a huge thing that Oscar, I don't think he's ever gotten since maybe the US Open Cup, and he hasn't gotten it before that since the COVID pandemic, when they did when we played the final against Portland. So, you know, it's great that they are, and I'm sure after the game they were able to see their stats compared to some of the top dogs, and good for them because it's pushing them to be better. Another player that to me, and I will say, is Freeman. Freeman was outstanding. I mean, the personality. Look at that heat map, man. I mean, there's nothing I can say about this kid that has not already been said. Tremendous job by Freeman. Certainly, a lot of people, and again, I don't want to bring and say, oh, we're gonna lose him. Let's talk about that when that happens. First is Orlando City, and I think also saying that too much, it could affect mentally. It could give you some sort of security, and it's good to see him fight it out. It's good to see him with that grit. If he gets too comfortable because he hears people praise him too much too, it's also not helpful. I think, let's just calm down. He's an Orlando City player. He's going to play for Orlando right now. He's happy here, and he's doing a tremendous job. He's one of the best right backs to me in the East, if not in the whole MLS, John.
Yeah, he's unreally good, man. Like it's kind of crazy how good he is right now. And I know today I wanted to find it to verify, but I believe he is in the preliminary roster. He got called up for the Gold Cup like prelim, like kind of like, oh,
Uh-huh.
okay, this is our pool of players we're looking at, and we'll see kind of where we get down to. I got to confirm that, but I know that there's a lot of talk around him and national team, and everybody on the broadcast on Apple TV is singing his praises, talking about how good he is.
Now, obviously, one of the things also, we talked about Gervais, we talked about Freeman, but I think one of the factors, and we'll talk about Gales in just a moment, but one of the factors that it was a main differential from all other games against Inter Miami, especially at that parking lot of a stadium. Definitely, it was that the midfield was spot on. Not only they dominated possession, about 68% possession, but they created more chances, and certainly Messi's heat map, it showed more going towards the right side. But Angulo, Araujo, Gervais, Kyle Smith, honestly, he was completely neutralized. They will give up the ball, but will go in the counter. It was dangerous counters. Their defensive unit is in shambles, and the defense also had a tremendous game. But I think it all starts with the mid, in my opinion, because that was our Achilles heel before. Our midfield will get Messi it out. Do you feel that is a factor also, Paul? Or what other factors do you think that contribute to Orlando's win?
I mean, Brekalo was really solid. Like our back, like Freeman was solid. Brekalo was
Yeah.
super solid. So I think when we are connected in the mid, the orchestra is gonna perform, right? So if we're not connected, we're not gonna perform as we want to. But Brekalo, man, he's outperforming that left back position. So I want to see him more outperforming that position as well.
Talk about defense, and one of the reasons Orlando had it so easy, because it could have been a even a bulkier result. Um, it was the backline for Inter Miami, man. I mean, it was that kid with a hair. He had the curly hair.
Oh,
Falcone.
Falcon.
I don't know where did he came from. You need to go back to school,
Bocas,
bro.
I think.
You need to go back to school, bro. You need to go get that career, man. You need to go work in a pharmaceutical or something, bro. I'm telling you, like, Angulo, Pasalic were cooking him. The counterattacks of Orlando City just led to multiple breakdowns. They couldn't really. I mean, it felt bad at some point. I mean, they conceded, I believe 19 to 20 goals so far. That back line, it's tremendous across all competitions. And despite them dominating possession, which is a staple of Lionel Messi and that whole Barca thing, uh, Miami only had 4 shots on target, John. 4 shots on target the whole entire game. You know, it's tremendous. The poor form that they are. I don't know if there's a comeback out of this, but I don't see him winning absolutely anything, unless it's given to them, John.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was. I was just expecting it because they conceded like 12 goals up and before this, and now it's like what 15 in 5 games or something like that. They're averaging 3 goals a game conceded, so it's really bad. Mascherano. I mean, this is what happens, bro, when you decide that you're just gonna do everything that Lionel Messi wants. Like you've got Lionel Messi's bro is the manager. You've got his like mate. They brought out a retirement in Mexico, basically, Astari to
Yeah.
come play. And I mean, did you see Pasalic's shot? Like went straight to his
Bro,
leg.
Ustadi needs to
That was
go.
horrific. That was so bad. The back line was like a mess. There's holes all over the place. We didn't even really have to try that hard. Like they come up and yes, they keep the ball and they do their tiki taka. But then
Yeah.
as soon as they lose the ball and we go on the counter, and I said this on a preview that I did, we're gonna murder them on the counter. Like if you give us space with our counter attacking players like Pasalic and Ojeda and Angulo and Muriel, like we saw that. That's exactly what happened. So their back line, I don't know what Mascherano is trying to do with it. I think they never really fixed their problems from last year. They have a top heavy or an age like top heavy roster for
Aged.
sure,
Yeah.
but also kind of top heavy in the attack. Like is way more money in it than the defense. And yeah, they got problems all over the place.
No,
So I know
they
there's talks of like a lot of them want Mascherano out. Like, is this going to be the game where they get rid of Mascherano? But I don't know. They never should have got rid of Tata Martino, in my opinion. I think they are so stupid for getting rid of Tata. I think he would have probably won them MLS Cup this year if he'd have been in control and been able to make a few changes because they had a pretty good run last year. They came like whatever it was. So great to see it from our point of view. And the league is panicking. I think they're just like, what the hell? Why can't you win games?
When I saw the starting 11 for Inter Miami, when they're so screwed that they're like running like a chicken with no head is when you see Jordi Alba like as a left winger. I was like, what in the world
They were
Jordi Alba
so
is doing?
afraid of Alex Freeman. Yeah, they're like, we cannot leave Jordi Alba alone back there.
I mean,
I was
what a
like,
bunch of pans. I'm gonna say it.
I mean, then Noah Allen just got cooked anyway,
Yeah.
so it's like it didn't work. Like
it didn't work, man.
Like they had problems, and they've been trying different things. Like apparently they put out a different center back combination for every single game. Like what I mean, I didn't suspect that Mascherano knew what he was doing. It started out and it looked pretty good from the beginning, but it's all starting to fall apart now.
Not only that, I mean, like you said, this is, and again, when you allow a player to do whatever he wants, I mean, you have to understand. I mean, Ustadi is a keeper that was retired, and they brought him back, and you bench Calendar, right? Then you get rid of Gressel. You get rid of people that gave you that stupid Leagues Cup.
Yep.
Okay. There were literally some players that were important for Orlando to go against.
Robert Taylor.
You get rid of those players and you bring literally Argentinians, or you bring players that really do not have the quality.
They don't have, a lot of these guys don't have the work ethic.
They don't have the work ethic either. They're a bunch of babies. Like,
not every South American player is going to run on defense.
Exactly.
Like, that. Like, we have players that Oscar only signs guys for South America, and if he does sign them, then he makes them run. And if they don't run, he doesn't play them, right? But their team, in my opinion, has got too many South Americans who don't want to actually, put the defensive side of the ball in.
No, because Inter Miami, and I'm gonna say this, and I know it's gonna sound so bad, and I know that's the reason why your pals don't invite me to their show, because it keeps it real, John. Look, I'm gonna
Hey
say
man,
it.
they might
Jorge
not
Mas.
invite me back after this.
Look, Jorge Mas, and it's the typical Latino, and I'm gonna say this, Latino snobbery about how MLS is so freaking easy. It's not, dude. And if you listen to what Luis Muriel said pregame, it's on Orlando City. It's on Orlando City's Twitter account. He said, "I underestimated the MLS. Truth. I thought this was going to be a walk in the park. I was going to go to the MLS, and I was going to go and be Muriel and do my little shaky, and and it didn't happen this way." Because the long traveling, some of the fields too, the infrastructure of some clubs that are playing baseball fields that have the same year of existence as we do in the MLS, hint, New York, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That, it's completely true. And Messi's bringing all these players and telling me, "Hey, man, let's get together." Like if it was like a pickup game, "Hey, let's bring together. We're going to be playing this team, man. They're a bunch of, they're easy as hell, man. Piece of cake, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Easy, man. Let's do it." And then they come here and then they get killed by an Angulo that has two years playing in the league. They get cooked by Ramiro Enrique. They get cooked by Duncan Maguire from Crichton. And that's exactly that's why Vancouver and Minnesota beat the crap out of them, because Messi's calling all these players that are not MLS ready. They're not MLS ready, and you have to be MLS ready. Look, it took Ojeda a season. It took Ramiro a season, right, John, to get MLS ready. It took Muriel a season to get MLS ready, and now we're seeing the results.
I think Muriel also didn't try that much in his first year. I think there's a difference between like Ojeda came in and like took a while to adjust. I think Muriel honestly just thought he could get away with it at the lower level, and now has been like, okay, I really have to up my game.
He was humbled.
He was, and I'm sure that the coaching staff were like, "Yo, if you're gonna stay here, we're gonna keep paying you. You need to start producing." And so he has started producing. And if I had told you next year, Luis Muriel is going to score a goal down at Inter Miami Stadium, you'd have been like, "Get out of here, bro."
Yeah.
So, what a difference, just a full preseason. Paulo always said it with a full preseason, maybe next year.
Yeah.
He'll be,
right.
I didn't believe it. I was very skeptical.
Called it.
But he has proven us that he can do it. And, talk about the goal. I mean, what a great run from that ball from Pedro, like over the top. It was not a back pass. It was Angulo tried to play it to Brecalo, and it ended up that Pedro picked it up, but it's not an intentional back pass. So any of these Miami fans are like, "Oh, it's a back pass," which is what Messi and co were all complaining about. Absolutely pathetic. While you were complaining to the ref, we're scoring at the other end of the goal. So yeah, I mean, embarrassing for them. But what a goal and what a strike by Muriel, and a great vision from Pedro on that pass.
Yeah, right here we have the B-roll here. You look at that. Look how he's running with.
Last year, I swear he didn't have that speed, man.
Yeah.
No, like
way.
Ojeda and him.
They're in the best shape of their career.
They've been doing the speed
physically.
training. They've been doing the bleep test on the side or some stuff.
They gotta give me some tips, man.
Basan, that's Basan probably the
Yeah.
conditioning and
Now look at this. This right here is filthy. I don't know if you guys have seen. This is crazy. Look at his footwork, John and Paula. Look at this.
Hey, that's
Man, it's like he's dancing. It's like he's dancing bachata or something, man. It's crazy.
That was tasty.
Cumbia.
Yeah, there's a bit of that going on. A bit of spice in the mix there.
And then my left foot is my weapon, for sure, my friend.
I love that, like, right before this, it was like Angulo didn't score, then Freeman didn't score, then Ojeda didn't score. Like, we had so many chances, and like at least we're in the group chat, like, how have we not scored a goal? And then Pasalic comes up on this opportunity, he goes, "Watch this, boys," and just
Boom.
smacks it with so much power that he's like, "Yeah, there ain't no way. There ain't no way this is not going in the net." And that was it, you know.
Look at this, and the guy right here is like, shit. I just paid $300 for this. Look at that, man.
Pay
Good job.
$500 to watch Messi run around.
Oh man. And
Boom,
this
that
was
pass.
this right here, man. And just to say who passed it, it was the accountant. He's Swiss
There you
Army
go.
knife.
An extra
That
bonus.
that left
Boom.
back with the right-footed pass down
Yeah.
the line, you love to see it.
Amazing. So happy for
And left wing, Duncan McGuire just pacing that one, man, just beaming down that left side.
yeah. Everybody's in top shape. Everybody wants to win. Everybody's motivated. Everybody's also not stepping in. There's no egos in this team. Like it is a really hardworking team, and we may not have a Neymar or a Buanga or one of those people that are maybe on the MLS All Star. It'd be a disgrace if we don't have one of our players in the MLS All Star, but that's another story. We're better off not having them in anyways because we'll get to keep them here in Orlando. But I mean, this is a team. Like if this team gets to play to any Brazilian team or Argentinian team right now in this form, they'll beat them. They'll beat them. Now, Pedro. Let's talk about Pedro a little bit and the assist, and then we'll read some comments. Thank you for your support. We're about 189 people live. Thank you for your support. Appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. If you're on X, please make sure that you're retweeting the link. If you are on YouTube, make sure you drop us a comment, a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel. Pedro Galese, obviously, he started a little bit. And a lot of people were complaining about him in the beginning of the year. How, he needed to put, he needed to be put down, and maybe we need to see more of Otero. And I mean, but the form of El Pulpo, it speaks a lot of his work ethic, and it speaks a lot of the present, and I think we should not be focusing so much on the past. We should focus on how he's doing now. And I think, it looked to me, and I know this is gonna sound weird, John, I don't know, or Paola, it looked like a quarterback pass. I
I
know
thought about it too.
it looked like a perfect, it looked like a quarterback pass.
Yep.
And I just think that he's been practicing that. So for people that don't know, he's been practicing that a lot. I want to say hello to Alonso as well, because he has a lot of footage in his X account about him doing all these. He stays after practice to kind of practice these shots, these long distance shots, these passes to Duncan or to Muriel or to even Ivan. And today was one of those moments in which it was just there to make it happen, John, and it happened. So what are your thoughts on El Pulpo's performance? I thought it was stellar. 5 stars, man.
Yeah, man, he kept us in the game at the beginning. Like, it's funny we were talking about Gressel, because he made a comment after they beat Inter Miami that the key is, and this is what he told like the other Minnesota players, because obviously coming from there, he had that insight. He said the key is just to wait out that first 30 minutes, and then they all kind of like get his, like, the intensity after that first 30 minutes isn't as much. And that's basically what we did as well. We just kind of rode it out. And Pedro in that first 30 minutes made that one-handed save from Messi's great chance in the box. It's that kind of moment, right? Like if that had gone in, head start to drop maybe, or like, it's okay. Now we're chasing
Yeah.
the game. So the fact that he can keep us in a game until we can score a goal is invaluable. And like those moments where he just comes up big. And in this game, there were several of them. I think he could have been. I think he was voted by the fans for man of the match. I don't know if he did get the man of the match. I can't remember, but
No, he didn't. It
he
was
killed.
Muriel.
It was Muriel, okay, but I mean he crushed it. I mean the reason nobody has gone to Inter Miami's house and I don't believe and kept them from having a clean sheet. I can't remember what that Opta stat is, Luis. Did you see that one? I believe it's something to do with Messi hasn't received a bigger defeat in his home stadium or something to do with
Yeah,
that.
so
Uh,
it's on our X account. I
yeah.
retweeted it.
So there, it just shows, right?
So
Like,
2023
yeah.
it was the last time they were beaten, and it was a shutout at the
I
parking
mean,
lot stadium.
what does that tell you? To go into their house and not let Suarez, Messi, any of their
One of
players
those
get
guys,
one,
yeah.
like just even one. When we were predicting this game, at least we both said 4-2.
Yeah.
I was thinking like maybe 3-1, but I was like, there's gonna be one. They're gonna score one, right? Like with that attacking lineup. But kudos to Pedro because he was like, not today. No. That one with the foot in the second half for Messi,
Tremendous.
bro. It's like, nah, it's just not happening. When
He,
that got denied, I was like, they're not scoring a goal today.
he reminded me of the Pedro of 2020, back in the
Exactly. Yeah.
back when he
Yeah,
arrived.
man. But also, there's that South, Luis, the Copa, the South American history there where he's played Messi so many times. So I feel like
Yeah.
there's games where he just plays the best game he can and he keeps these incredible talents out. So
Yeah,
kudos to Pedro and he's killing it.
the problem here is that and I mentioned it on the preview for the Miami game. Just some players just play with a lot of respect to Messi, dude. I mean, and this goes also on the national team level. It happened to Peru when they play Argentina. And Pedro never really cared about Messi. We've actually, I know for a fact around his people, he really doesn't care about really Messi. He sees everybody as an equal at that point. And, they're both colleagues and playing the sport, but he wants to win it. But then again, sometimes Messi has these one of those nights that he's enlightened, and it's impossible to have a shout out. But Galicia has definitely always put up a fight against Messi, and it showed today for sure. 4 saves, 2 big stops against Messi, is a 6th clean sheet of the season, and he also has 2 assists in Orlando City history. So this was the 2nd assist. So
Playing that sweeper keeper, you love to see it.
yeah. So it's tremendous.
I want to quickly, Luis. I got one last thing before we go to the comments. I want to say that I was correct about Alex Freeman. Here's an article at The Athletic talking about the fact that he has been, he's part of the preliminary 60 players that are potentially going to go to the Gold Cup. That's going to go down to the 26 squad, and that will be in June 4th. That will be decided. So I think Alex potentially going to be out a little bit for some camps, maybe, so they can get a look at him, and we'll see whether he makes that final 26-man cup squad, and if that impacts him being out for us and whatever. But clearly shows, as we've been saying all year, that he's killing it.
Yeah, and same is going to be with Gerbe. I mean, this them playing for the badge and playing for them, they're also inadvertently playing for themselves, because now windows of opportunity would open for Freeman. Also, they're going to open probably for Gerbe to get a better payday. I mean, to get a raise, just like any other company in the world. You deserve, if you do great, you deserve a raise. So I mean, it is the game that's played, and I'm not saying that he's playing for that, but he's definitely it's rewarded. You see it in every single club, and he's an important part of the team. Let's go over and read some comments real quick. It says here, Gerbe could give Cesar a night off once the Twister returns, and we can rest center defensive midfielders, getting solid rest as needed. It says booty sweat. Look at that. Look at that account, booty sweat ball. Incredible.
Luis, I like that you're reading it multiple times. You're like, let me read this word
Yeah.
again, just in case you didn't hear.
Lego, give me all the cups. Says probably your best game. Gonna be tough to bench him for a twista. F says, yeah, I'm not expecting our attack to look that dangerous against Nashville. Fort Lauderdale really fired Martino for what? Carlos Guille says, I have a man crush on Gervais. There you go. Oh, she left. JCB's 95. Mascherano looked lost after the second goal and has no idea what to do. Exactly, because in his mind, he feels he could play MLS. MLS. Che. I'm sorry, I speak Spanish. Oh, che, viste, la MLS, viste, en líneas generales, es una liga muy fácil, viste. No, William Diaz Granados, Gervais equal Pirlo Jr. There you go. F, it says if you play Alba on the wing in FIFA, your team chemistry gets nerfed. To be Janice. Good evening, LPO. Great win on Sunday. Let's keep this unbeaten streak going. How about your Bay? Everybody, he's the next guy that everybody loves.
Paula's computer died, so hopefully she'll be back in a bit.
It says Aranya _M. Kyle to Duncan to Dagger for the finish. I love the third goal was created by subs with fresh legs. Good coaching.
That is one last thing I want to say on this game before we move on. Players deserve so much praise because they really killed it out there and performed so well. But also Oscar on this one just nailed it on the game plan and just tactically made Mascherano look stupid, I think.
It says James Regis, Ojeda has an all-star chance. We'll see. I really don't care about the all-star, to be honest with you. It's just me. I don't know. But it will be nice to be recognized by the league, I think that's going to happen once Messi leaves. JCB's 95. Pedro's on fire. Solid saves and an assist. Masterclass performance. If Alex is seen next to those other guys, there's no way they don't take him on the national team. Let's see what Poch decides, man. Poch, I'll be honest, I wasn't a big fan of Pochettino. But we
got a lot of right backs. There's not that many left backs, so maybe he'll move some right backs to left back and then bring Alex, or maybe Alex won't get in this time, but it'd be a shame if not.
Guille Carlos, Paola's computer pulled an Inter Miami. There you go.
Literally.
There you go. So we're gonna segue into our next topic here. We are gonna be facing.
Hold on, let's talk OCB real quick before that.
Oh yeah, let's do OCB first.
Because I don't want to forget about them. Sunday.
Oh yeah, true that.
Saturday. It wasn't Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
OCB, they also put it to the Baby Flamingos. They won 3-0, as you can see here. Goals from Caraballo, Shaq Mohammed, Justin Ellis. It was a great game. They played pretty well. It was kind of similar to ours, where they didn't have the ball all the time, but just made it count in key moments. Defended well. Had been conceding a lot of goals before this, so a 3-0 was really great to see, and I think everybody enjoyed it that went out there. I'm hoping they had a pretty good attendance as it was a Saturday game. Here is the goal from Caraballo, because I got to show you this. It's just really beautiful. I'm going to turn this down.
Excellent ball. Reed Brown leaves for Ellis.
Man, Ellis, what a beast.
Oh.
Two of our youngsters there. Ellis played that
boy.
He was playing like the central attacking mid. He was playing the Ojeda role, basically, Justin Ellis. And that was
Ellis is great,
a beautiful little dink pass over into the box. The Caraballo just one-time hits. The quality of the finish there from MLS Next Pro. I feel like some of these guys are really performing very well. And then it was the 50th minute. We got another one.
And Orlando.
Oh, a bit too far forward. Here we go.
That was a beautiful pass from
This one
Ellis.
was amazing. Look at the Ellis pass right there.
A real opportunity for Orlando. Ellis.
Boom.
Shaq Mohammed.
So Justin Ellis did it again in the 50th minute. Paula, you're saying that was a beautiful pass.
Yeah, beautiful pass from Justin Ellis. Like
You-
he
Justin
has
Ellis, man, my boy.
fire.
That was the first one. Look, he does it almost exactly the same here again.
Nice.
That was that goal, and then it wasn't too much later that we got the third. Let's see. Here we go.
Yeah, right here.
I mean, what a performance, Justin Ellis. I think that's 2 assists and a goal from the center attacking mid position. Beautiful. I mean, great finish by Shaq on the second goal. I think the OCB boys are cooking. You know, they had a few rough games there where they didn't win, as we let you guys know last time we talked about them, but they seem to have righted the ship. And let's see where they are in the standings.
Good to see Loyola back.
They're 7th in the standings, so they're definitely, within range. They're in the playoffs. They can kind of push back up.
Good to see Loyola back for sure. And also that Ellis performance was superb. Caraballo doesn't surprise me. And again, guys, this is the way Orlando City is rocking. They're putting all these kids to come and play and get minutes. And eventually these are going to be first team players. It is what it is.
And OCB going up against Atlanta United 2 next and Chattanooga. So they got some Southeast rivalry going on. And Huntsville and Carolina Core. So this is good because their travel's not too bad. They're kind of staying around the Southeast for a while. So hopefully it can pick up more points and keep cooking because there were some great goals in that last game.
Also, before we go into Nashville, I do want to say I want to give news on Sakaira Taifi. First team signing. So congratulations to the Taifis, because certainly, I mean, this is a kid that he started his soccer career in Orlando and is full circle now. He's going to be playing with the first team throughout 2020 through 2026 with club options in 2027 and 2028 and 2029. So tremendous. Also, I do want to say he's being scouted by, and I know this is, I mean, people are going to think, hey, you're full of crap, but Morocco. I've seen that he's been training and some Moroccan journalists are coming to do interviews with him, and he's making buzz. He can also represent Morocco if need to be, believe. And so it's tremendous. It's another 19-year-old player that comes from our academy that it's killing it in MLS next pro, and now he's going to be part of the first team. John,
I'm excited, man. I know the club posted the pictures of him when he was like U12 or whatever, and like U15, U8, OCB, and his first team debut. So we've talked a lot before. I know his mom is big in social media, so a lot of people have seen her posting about him, and with his Moroccan connections, maybe they're looking to bring him into the national team at some point. That could be a thing for him. So excited to see if he gets on the field, Luis, as we get to play Nashville in the Open Cup. Look at that segue. Perfect. I nailed it. So
perfect transition.
Look at that. Let's talk about Trashville. Yeah, Trashville.
Nashville, good barbecue, Johnny Cash. I hurt myself today. That's how Johnny. Sorry, my impression of Johnny Cash is not really good.
73% on Software Score. Think we're gonna win this one. So that's good.
Well, that's great. We just have to win. I mean, Orlando definitely is going to be favored to win for sure. We have the attack. The defensive stability, I believe. So, 15 goals, conceded only 15 goals in the last 8 matches, with Schlegel, Jensen, Brekalo, Gales's goalkeeping going up and up. And our home form, man, our home form is it's pretty impressive. Only one MLS loss this season. Do you remember, Paola, when we used to be, remember we have like one of the worst records playing at home, and
Horrible.
yeah. Well, now we only have one loss the whole entire MLS season so far.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, John, on this game coming up?
I think this is going to be a test, man, a real test. And as much as I want to play some of these kids in this round, I honestly think this is like Nashville could be in a final of the Open Cup, kind of like I think that they are doing much better than this year. I didn't really regard them in preseason as a team that would be any good this year, but BJ Callahan, he had those few games where he managed USA. If you watch those, and we performed really well in USA under him,
Yeah.
and I think he's starting to show what he can do as a coach of a club, because Nashville, the roster is not too dissimilar from years before, but he's getting a lot more out of these players. Surridge, Mukhtar is kind of having a bit of a resurgence. He's getting more goals and assists than he did in the last few years, kind of back to that Mukhtar from a few years ago. And yeah, I just think that they're improving in terms of their actual record so far. They've conceded the same amount of goals as us. We both conceded 16. We have scored more goals than them, but not by a huge amount. They've scored 24. We've scored 27. So it's very tight on the stats. We're tight in the table. We're having very similar MLS seasons so far, in my opinion. And I think there's a lot of similarities between these teams. Nashville, very good in defense, like we are. Like I said, only 16 goals conceded. And then they've got an attacking trio that is dangerous, so it's going to be a real test. I think it's going to be a bit like the New England game, where even though we might score a lot of goals, we might also concede some goals. Definitely more of a threat than Miami were, I think, which is crazy for me to say. When we were looking at this stretch of games, I was thinking like, whoever we get next in the Open Cup, maybe we could rotate in that as well. But I honestly don't know. I think we're going to have to play a very strong lineup against this Nashville side.
Yeah, Paola, what are your thoughts of this game coming up?
No, I agree with John. I think our lineup is gonna be strong. It's gonna be a mix, but it has to be strong. Last time that Nashville was here for the U.S. Open Cup, we burst their bubble with Schlegel banging that goal, and then we went into penalties and we grabbed that ticket to the final or the semifinal. I don't remember quite well, but
I think it
I
was to
know
the
that
semis, because then we
I
played
think it was the
New
semis.
York next. Yeah, the Red
Yes,
Bulls.
yes, yeah. You're right, John. So it was ticket to the semi. So there's a little bit of bad blood every time that we face Nashville. It's that type of a team that it's not that we struggle. It's a hard game, and we need to fight. So it's not an easy team to beat. I'm not quite sure if they're going all in for this game. But if they're going all in, we have to go all in because it's a good contender, and I know Oscar wants another trophy as a U.S. Open Cup, right? So I think we're gonna win. It's not gonna be an easy win. Probably we see some drama. Hopefully not, but we could see some drama in the extra time and go to penalties on Wednesday.
Look, we just have to honestly strike first. I think we feel more comfortable when Orlando strikes first. And to me, we have to have the same. I agree with John. I think we should be not treating this. Look, we want to be that team, and a lot of people say, no, we need to be that team that is able to play both tournaments, the three tournaments. Look, I will give Leagues Cup to the kids. Be honest with you, I really don't care about that tournament. Be honest with you, the whole
Are we
NECAP,
even in Leagues Cup? Can we just not be?
yeah,
Can we just bow out of
the
that?
whole,
Forgot
the
about
whole,
that.
the whole
Dude,
NECAXA, whatever. I don't
Leagues Cup.
honestly. Yeah, so this is gonna be a test because this is what, like John was saying, it's a testament of what the team is made of. I mean, they have to play a really good opponent like Nashville, and then you got to play also Portland, and you are also fighting with Nashville for be that fourth slot, and it's a must win Portland as well. and so this is a really big test for the Lions on their stamina, on their um, make sure they're concentrated mentally. I mean, this is going to be a really two couple games coming up, and I say it one more time, as I said, if we win against Nashville and we beat Portland and we go into this, momentum, in no time we're going to be contending for right there, top three, top two. It is just a matter of time, and we need to definitely give the boys some praise. Right now, especially in the Inter Miami game, what worked a lot was that the bench had an immediate impact, and Oscar made the substitutions very on the clock. When he saw they were kind of dropping a little bit or needed more defensive presence and go into a three-back form, five out back, he did that. And I think this is going to be the same thing. Try to score first, strike first, do that heavy pressing that was really, really choking Miami, especially in the mid. And I think we can have a really good game that Orlando can maybe hopefully win by 2 goals or more. I don't
think
know.
I think they rested some guys against TC, man. I mean, they got a 0-0, but their starting lineup here, Teal Bunbury should not be starting. Like Gaston Bergman, maybe
For sure.
Qasim, I think is a sub guy. So Hani Mukhtar really in this front four is the only maybe real starter. If you come down to the bench against DC and it's a game ended 0-0, they brought Sam Sturridge on at halftime. So I think they try to just give him only a half. Jacob Schaffelberg, I couldn't say that word for a second. Schaffelberg, we all know about him and what he likes to do against Orlando City. Luis is still in awe of him at the Copa America? What was
Schaffelberg?
Whatever that competition was where he was
daddy.
cooking. He was cooking for Canada.
Yeah, Schaffelberg's Peru's daddy.
Yeah, Peru's daddy. Alex Moyle, Brian Acosta. So I think they've rested some guys because they know this is going to be a big game for them. So expect to see Surge in the starting, 9 position. Expect to see Mukhtar in the 10, probably Schaffelberg on one wing, maybe Moyle on the other wing, maybe one of these other guys here on the other wing, like Bergman in there, maybe Okasa, who knows. But they're definitely got some strength in that attack, and their defense is, like we said, pretty reliable as well. I feel like we always have a problem with Willis. I feel like he's just one of those keepers that we just can't get the ball past for some reason. So that's going to be annoying.
This is going to be another game. I predict that Alex Freeman is probably going to, I feel that Nahar and Bauer are not up to his level. So I think that, also Lovitz, I don't really see a lot of, he's beaten Jordi Alba like nothing. He made him look like a fool with his pants on the ground, but, I think it could be a really good game by Alex Freeman. It could be even a game that he scores at that point, going in, and he's cutting through the mid too, so we could see that. Jaspek is having a tremendous season for Nashville as well. We need to watch out for that. Like you said, Mukhtar on the set pieces, he's really good. If you think Carlos Hill was good, Mukhtar, it's I believe a step up.
They love a corner goal. They got so many tall players. We got to watch out for that.
Yep, and also Sturridge, Mukhtar, Moyle, Schaffelberg. These are players that they love to talk. They love to piss people off. They love to, look for the foul. They love to, voice their dissent. And we can, I think both Robin, and I don't know if you feel the same, Paula, Robin and Schlegel have kind of gotten better about kind of, falling into that trap of being of aggressiveness. But this could be a game that also we need to watch out for that, right?
Absolutely. I was impressed by Schlegel. He was calmed down by Miami Suarez tried to do like that trash talking to Schlegel, but he composed himself and he was quite you know down to earth. We're winning. We don't want yellow cards, or why not? So I remember Lovitz too. He's a pain in the back. He's a trash talker all the time. So um that probably Jansen is gonna responds to them, but I see Schlegel more composed recently in the game. So let's see how he feels on Wednesday.
For sure. And we're gonna go and we'll read some comments before we go into the predictions. Uh, Booty says Leagues Cup stinks, but I'm looking forward to our boys playing that MX group. F Gervais hotter than all their starters. OC by heartbreak. And Nashville fans have little bro syndrome bad, says Josh Tall. If we score first, that would be great for sure. Does Ellis earn an Open Cup start? I don't know if I look. Open Cup is a huge opportunity for Orlando to get another piece of silverware. I will play with my A team. I can't take these MLS teams lightly.
I think start the A team and Ellis on the
Yeah.
bench for sure.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
all the Gusky, Carabao, I want all those guys on the bench.
Yeah.
But
No.
I would start A team.
No, we came into an agreement that the lineup that Orlando is going to have for this game is going to be the same one as we saw against Inter Miami, with Galese up top, Freeman, Schlegel, Jensen, and Brecalo, Gervais, and Cesar Araujo, with Ojeda as your 10, on your right Angulo, on your left Pasalic, and up top Luis Muriel.
Maybe we'll see like Enrique instead of Angulo or something.
Yeah, that could be.
Or Duncan too instead
Yeah,
of
like a
Muriel.
starting level striker, like a change or something like that. But I don't expect to see the kids playing in this one.
Right. Now let's do our predictions against Nashville, and we'll hold off for Portland because we have another episode this Thursday. So Thursday at 6:30, guys. So stick around with LPO. Okay, so should I go first or?
Go.
All right, so I predict
It's hard, man. I know.
3-1 Orlando win. 3-1. And we're gonna probably see another Carvalho goal, hopefully.
That'd be nice. Carabao comes on and gets the third.
Yeah.
It off.
Yeah, 3-1. How are you, Paula?
2-1.
2-1 win Orlando. What about you, John? He's gonna go for a clean sheet.
I'm a good 2-0. Yep.
There you go.
I watched Pedro just perform out of his skin last game, so I feel
There you
like as much as Nashville are a threat, I think we can deal with them.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of.
But really want to win this game, man, because I really want to win the Open Cup again this year.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think that's
really
the thing is. But I'm impressed with the way that Oscar is dealing with this.
Yeah.
Double game week. He's talking about like we're gonna just rotate the right guys at the right time, but also not train as hard and like watch people's fitness levels, make sure they're recovering correctly. So I thought May could be a disaster, and so far we've come through it
been a dream
with some great results. So if we can continue to do that, get another 6 points this week, I mean, what an incredible May we'll be having.
Now, before we go, tracing back, Facu left. People were sad. Orlando last year went 5-0 at Inter Miami. We lost bad. Now with all these results coming up and all this momentum, can you certainly say that Orlando City is a contender in the Eastern Conference? And it could maybe, why not, try to go for a shield run? I mean, the numbers could add up if they keep going with this streak. I don't know. What do you feel, Paula?
I mean, we can.
Or am I getting too ahead?
Exactly. I mean, I don't want to jinx or anything, but we can be definitely a contender. But I don't know.
I think
I'm
it's
more focused on the MLS Cup than in the Shield, to be
I think
honest.
I think Orlando City is a strong contender. If one a top four, I mean
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna be there.
the defense is playing great. Beating Messi, that's definitely motivating, and the form in attack that they have, the finishing. Because John, against Miami, we missed a couple goals too that were pretty much a given.
Yeah, we should have scored more.
Yeah,
We shouldn't
so we
be
just gotta
five
score
nil.
those, John.
Not gonna
Right?
be mad at the players because they absolutely crushed it, but we should have scored 5 or 6 for sure.
It could have been
Um,
a 5-0 result, Orlando.
yes, indeed. I also want to say for Wednesday, we mentioned this beginning, but we do have some tickets that we're going to be giving away. So Luis tomorrow is going to post them on social. We've got 2 pairs of tickets, so there is 2 people will win 2 tickets each. In section 35, they are row J, so they're pretty close, like in the lower bowl. In section 35. So that's going to be some great action. If you want to see some Leagues Cup, go ahead and enter that competition.
Leagues Cup?
Sorry,
USA
Open
Cup.
Cup. What am I? If you want to see some Open Cup, John,
No one's
gosh,
gonna go.
ban me now. Anyway, if you want to see some Open Cup on Wednesday, check out our socials tomorrow for a chance to win 2 tickets for you and take a buddy on Wednesday night.
A buddy or,
A
a
date?
Maybe a
vedette.
date.
Take a
you know?
date?
Your date.
Yo, a little bit of
Yeah.
trashing on Trashville.
Yeah, a
know?
little bit of hey girl, I wanna take you
Yo, let me show you how we beat down on Mukhtar. No, I'm kidding.
girl, I wanna take you to see Nashville cry.
We're losing it. All right, do the socials, so let's get out of here.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody that was watching. I want to read the last few comments. This is F. I know if I know Orlando at home in an elimination game, this is going to penalties. It could be. Josh Tall, Pedro does play well versus them usually. Can any of the youngins play left wing by chance? Probably Ramiro. Hopefully, Atuesta can be back soon. Maybe this is an Atuesta game that we will see,
Probably.
maybe having some minutes, see how he feels against Portland, but just another important game when it comes to the point and the position that we are in the standings. So, but you can check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We're going to be there. Also on Goals TV. This episode is going to be on Goals TV. We're going to be on X, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as Louder and Proud Orlando, or at LP_podcast. Drop us a thumbs up, a review as well if you feel froggy. And I want to thank John and Paula, and we'll see you guys on Thursday to preview the game against Portland. And we'll see you guys. Vamos Orlando.
And come back for Pride Pod in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah,
Right
in
here.
5 minutes we have the Pride Pod. Yes, we're gonna be talking about sad times, but we'll go there in just a moment. Thank you guys for your support. Vamos Orlando. Have a
Vamos
good one.
Orlando.